Hi guys, welcome to this quick comparison between the GoPro Hero 7 Black and the 10 Black, and as you can see it's quite some difference, but of course there are also some things which are pretty much the same. So the question here is, of course, is it worth to buy the cheaper 7, which is already a very good camera and you can get it much cheaper? This is usually around $250 now. This one is $350, that's the latest version. And the GoPro Hero 11 Black, of course, is also coming soon, like in September 2022 probably. So is it worth to buy one of these or wait for the new one? So what's my recommendation here? So I have bought this one right after this came out. This one also, about half a year or so after they came on the market, I bought them for me for Christmas, and I love both of them. What we notice is, of course, the huge difference in size. You can see that here, the new size. I think it started with the GoPro 8 Hero, and then of course continued with the 9 and 10, and of course it will be same, I think, with the 11 is much larger. You can see that here and here as well, and also regarding, I think they are thicker here a little bit. And what's of course the difference is then also the battery inside. Battery, it's also a different topic. You can see the difference in battery. Yeah, the old one is opening from the bottom, the new one is opening from the side. So here we have it. Not the original one, here's the original one, but you can see the difference also in size here a little bit. I think I have to hold it like that, but you can see the difference in size as well. With the new one it's quite a bit larger, but if you were hoping for better battery life, yeah, I have to disappoint you. That's definitely not better, because it has new processor, it's consuming more battery. And so I think if you are lucky we can get about the same run time, and some people are saying it's even shorter. Yeah, when we have it already open, it's important, I think, to talk a bit about the openings. The openings have been improved. You can see the microSD card here inside, and we have the USB-C charging port, data port, and here we had, still with the old one, with the 7, we had 2 ports. Here we had the USB-C, and here we have the battery, and here we have the microSD card, so we had to open 2 of them. This one is pretty nice one, but this one I have always been a little bit fearing that I would touch it by accident and open it. It has never happened, but it would be crazy if that happened when you are underneath water, and then of course the camera would be fully damaged. This was always some fear from my side, not with the new one. With the new one, the lock, the closing mechanism is much stronger. As you can see, you have to push really hard and up, and there's absolutely no fear that this would happen. What we also see as a difference, we have this mount here at the bottom. It's a huge advantage, so we don't have to use any kind of case to mount it on a normal standard GoPro mount. And here with the old one, with the 7, it's total different thing. For any kind of mounting, we of course need a housing. They are easy to use, but you still need a housing. On the other hand, it's not only an advantage, I can tell you, it can also be a disadvantage, because if you want to use a housing, let's say for the media mode or anything else, then usually, actually all the housing providers are using the original GoPro mount here, and so this can be a little bit difficult to use. I can show you that with the media mode. Media mode is also a good thing, of course, with the new GoPros. I think it's not available for the 7. I think it started with the 8 and then 9 and 10. This is the same which you can use for the 8, 9 and 10. But it's not a perfect thing anyway. It doesn't help a lot regarding microphone. The only thing it has really improved is actually that we have like openings here for the microphone for charging. Here even some probably HDMI or so. That's now really good that we have this without opening the flap. But on the other hand, I can show you that I mean, we are putting it inside. Of course, we have to remove this here first, but what's happening here, they are using the mounts here from the original GoPro. So if you want to take it out here, you have to remove it from the mounts here and put it up and take it out. This can be a little bit tricky. So if you have this one mounted here, like with a case, it's much easier to remove. So this is not only an advantage, but also some kind of a disadvantage with these mounts here. Then of course what we have here with the new one, I mean with the old one, we had already a display in the front, but it's a different thing. By the way, I turn it on, and also while turning it on, it's a huge difference, I can tell you. The new one is harder to turn on. You have to push much harder. With the old one, it was really easy to turn on. With the new one, you have to push really hard. For me, it's a disadvantage because this was already enough strong to push. But of course, the big advantage here with the new one is this live display. You can see me. By the way, it's not, of course, not a wide image here. It's just a square, and it doesn't represent the whole thing which you record here actually, or what you see from the back. The height is absolutely perfect. The height is correct, so you can see what you are recording from top to bottom, but it will miss out from quite some recording on the side. You are not seeing the side, so if you want to record yourself, it's not so much of a problem, but you have to be aware of that. You are not seeing everything here on the display. That's a little bit of a disadvantage. Then regarding the recording quality, I would say, yeah, that's a bit of a disappointment here actually with the new GoPro 10. I have been expecting much better quality during day or night, better stabilization, those things, but it has actually not happened. I don't see any real difference. I mean, of course, it's nice to have a little bit larger display, also display in the front. But the video quality, unfortunately, I couldn't see any kind of difference regarding video quality, not even during the night, even with the new processor, new sensor, all the new features they have built in. For me, I am still using both of them, and when I use them in my videos, I can't see absolutely any difference at all. And also you can see sometimes it has some disadvantage here. This one we can put like this one not. So don't just buy this because of the quality or so, or better stabilization. It's not going to happen here. But there is some advantage regarding the microphone. If microphone is important and you don't want to use an external microphone, then the GoPro 10 has quite some advantages regarding the microphone. With the old one, I have always been blocking when I was holding it like that and recording a video. Sometimes I've been blocking the microphone openings. I mean, it has actually a couple of them, and I was always thinking that the most important one is here. When I had made some tests, it was showing here, but obviously it has some other microphones. I think there are 3 of them, very similar to this one here, but here we have a large microphone here. I think it's even the most important one is here in the front, and that's a huge advantage because usually you're not covering this one here. It has never happened to me that I have just by accident covered all the microphones just by holding the camera. So definitely an advantage here. And also one of the biggest advantages which we have here, you can see maybe regarding when we hold it like that, when we turn it around upside down, you can see this one here is almost never reacting. It's very difficult to make it happening. You can see now I have both in portrait mode, and I now turn them around. Let's see what happens when I move them a little bit. You can see on the right side it changed pretty fast. On the left side it's still in the portrait mode, and it took very long to put it back into landscape. So this is very slow reacting. This is much faster, and especially also regarding the touchscreen, this has always been a little bit difficult to use. I mean, usually these things work, and you can see that here when you turn on maybe the Pro Tune, you can move around things, but sometimes it's lagging pretty hard. Now here it's not bad, but sometimes it can be a real hassle regarding the lags here with the old one. Also depends a little bit on what you're doing here in the menu, maybe also looking for media and those things, but it has always been a little bit of a problem. Not only a little bit, but quite some problem when you're in a rush and you need to record very fast, and so sometimes it's just doing nothing. And but it's a total different thing with this screen here. This is much nicer, much faster. I can tell you, this is crazy. This is almost like a normal touchscreen from a smartphone or so. This is a huge difference. This is total new world here regarding touchscreen, I can tell you. And of course we have more options, we have more possibilities. We have the Pro Tune already built in. When we are going to the settings, we always have the Pro Tune. I think we can't disable them. Yeah, at the beginning I have always been thinking it's a good thing that we can enable or disable the Pro Tune, so we do not by accident change these things here. But now I got used to these things and I'm just a little bit careful. You can see sometimes it's almost impossible to do anything here. It can be really difficult to do something, change some settings here. Yeah, it's not easy with this old 7 thing. Yeah, one thing I almost forgot regarding the battery. It's also important regarding the battery. Unfortunately, the battery with the new one sometimes creates some problems, and it discharges fully, especially when you're using this mode here, the media mode. Then it can be a problem. But also some other people are complaining that it just drains the battery for nothing. You think the GoPro is turned off and fully charged, and you're going to use it 2 days later and it's fully drained. This has never happened with the old one, so this is definitely also a disadvantage with the new one. The battery seems to be quite unreliable, so it's important to have an extra battery if you want to use the new one. So you can see there are a lot of advantages and disadvantages on both sides. So I definitely cannot give like a full recommendation, say yeah, buy the new one, it has only advantages. Definitely not. The old one has also quite some advantages regarding the size and the battery and some other things. Of course, if money doesn't matter for you, if it's no difference for you, if you want to spend 250 or 350, then of course I would recommend to buy the new one. By the way, what I always recommend to buy GoPros when they come on the market with new processors, with new CPUs. I think they started with their own CPUs or with the GoPro 6 Hero Black. That's the 7 Hero Black, so that's the second model, but I bought it actually because they came out with the hyper smooth stabilization. But you can already see here, because they built in extra software, the CPU was then struggling and it got pretty slow. I mean, the recording itself is good, definitely no lags, it's awesome, but the display is actually, the whole menu is too slow for the CPU already. Probably it was much better with the number 6, and you can see that here with the 10 we got a new CPU, and so the software, the menu, everything fits perfectly to this one. Yeah, now I try to go back here. So the software fits much better to the CPU here. So I would only recommend to buy new GoPros when they come up with new CPUs. I think it doesn't matter too much when they come with new optical sensors, unless they bring something really crazy, something which has much higher sensitivity or so. This would be my wish for the future, that they came up with something which has much higher sensitivity, especially for recordings during the night. Yeah, it's almost a nightmare with the GoPro. I mean, if you are using a tripod, then it's okay, but if you use any kind of stabilization, no matter if it's the old one or the new one, when it's pretty dark and you have like just the street lights or so, there's almost no stabilization, or you have just your garden lights or so, I can tell you the stabilization almost completely fails with both of them, and I don't expect any kind of improvement also with the new 11 one. What probably could help in the future is definitely a new optical sensor, and maybe at one point and optical stabilization. This is definitely something where this thing is of course a little bit struggling. And if you think about all these nice phones which you have, Samsung phone, iPhone, all these really nice cameras with their optical stabilization during the night, they have a huge advantage compared to the GoPros just because of the optical stabilization. I mean, when you're recording during the day, you have like a high brightness. There's absolutely no problem to create a really nice electronic stabilization. There's almost no difference to see. I mean, the GoPro is a legend regarding stabilization, no doubt about that, but it doesn't work during the night when it's really dark. And maybe one last topic is regarding overheating. Of course, some people are complaining about that, but this has already been a huge problem with the old one, especially when you're using a housing. Of course, it's the new one, you don't need a housing for all the things. This could be an advantage regarding overheating, but I'm using the media mode anyway regarding the microphone, because when you want to record with a good quality audio, then it doesn't work with the original GoPro, doesn't even work with the media mode. The quality of the microphone is also not very good. Then you need an external microphone, maybe even some kind of light, and you want to use tripod, so you have it usually in a case anyway, and then it could definitely overheat. I never had any real issues, but I'm not recording like videos for hours. I'm usually just using it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes or so, and then I stop recording and then continue maybe. So I never had any real issues with overheating, but it's definitely getting pretty warm, but it affects both of them actually. So if you want to buy something now and money doesn't matter, go with the GoPro 10. If money is a little bit an issue, then easily go with the GoPro 7 here. It's still at the moment for this low price, and you get this very small camera. You don't have to deal with a larger camera here. This thing is still very, very good, especially regarding the video quality. Definitely no difference, and I'm not expecting any difference with the GoPro 11 unless they come out with something crazy, but I think GoPro doesn't have the financial resources to develop anything crazy at the moment, so it will be more like some software improvements which you probably also get here, and they are definitely not going to come up with a new CPU. So for me, the next time when I'm going to buy a new model, it's definitely not the 11, it will be probably something like 12, 13, or probably 13 when they come with a new CPU model, or maybe if they would come with a much better optical sensor or stabilization or so. But yeah, that's it for now. I still hope I've been able to help you a little bit with this video. If you have any questions or comments or other opinions, then just let us know down in the feedback area. I'm always happy to talk about these things, and if you like the video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe my channel. Thanks for watching, see you next time.